This also goes, now is the time to come home and do something. Instead of staying out there and freezing. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come let us go hand in hand, because this is our land. Come my brother, come my sister, and let us build a nation together.
Come, let we build a nation together. I say, come, let we build a nation together. That message is a very powerful one. That call is a very powerful one. But there are people who will not heed that message or call. And we are seeing it playing out before our very eyes. And also as we have a group of people who do not want good for Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. In fact, they want to see Grenada on its knees so that they can easily come back into power. They want to see the people of Carriacou and PT Martinique in such a situation that they can exploit them, that they can take advantage of them. And that is why on their platforms, on their programs, they push a certain narrative. So while the broader population is happy with the response from government and the private sector and CARICOM and volunteers and citizens generally, the people in the diaspora, while people are happy with the response, you have those NNP surrogates, pundits, NNP generally, who continue to be negative, who continue to be, out there trying to score political points. And that is why I say to our people, Grenada is still polarized. Carriacou, PT Martinique still polarized. In fact, I was listening to a podcaster who supports the NNP, and she went on to say, well, the reason why they are not visiting PT Martinique as frequently as Carriacou is because the NDC lost that polling division during the last election. That is how low these people are willing to go just to make the government look bad, just to make Grenada look bad. So I am saying again, there are a group of people in Grenada who support this political organization. All they want to see is bad things, horror stories, bad things that make them feel good. It makes them feel great. Hence the reason when the CRIF payout came, they were quick to say, well, it's not the government, but instead the previous government to take credit. They were very swift where that is concerned. because the government will get 118 million PC. They don't like that. Why should the NDC administration get that? Because when they get that money, they will be able to rebuild. They will be able to help the people of St. Patrick, St. Mark, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. So the NNPs is of the view, those surrogates and pundits and supporters, they shouldn't get it because it would make things easier. And when Grenlec got the 9.3 million US, they were angry, they were bitter, so quick. Then Nawasa got the 2.2 million US. They angry again. Those NNP surrogates and pundits, they bitter. Then they see leaders within the Caribbean standing in full solidarity, shoulder to shoulder with the most honorable Deacon Mitchell. They vex, they angry. It shouldn't happen. Then they see the relief aid coming from Guyana, coming from the Cayman Islands, coming from Trinidad, coming from Barbados, coming from Tobago, coming from Trinidad. They angry, they bitter, coming from the business community in Grenada, coming from the diaspora, coming from ordinary Grenadians. It makes them feel angry. They're angry inside because they never expected this to be so organized. So they're concocting stories. They have their supporters calling out of Carriacou to say all kinds of bad things after a hurricane, a Category 4 hurricane, struck Carriacou and PT Martinique. Just the garbage collection in PT Martinique becomes a big issue. So they recorded that and they sent it for those NNP podcasters so they can highlight it and showcase it. And while they were recording it, the badge with the garbage trucks and so on, they were on their way to PT Martinique. But still, it becomes a biggie, becomes an issue. Because to them, it's all about politics and how to make the government look bad, and how to make the ministers of government look bad, and how to make the prime minister look bad, and how to make Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique look bad. That is all they are, fit for. That is all what they want to do, and that is all they have been doing from day one. So nothing good should happen, even during a disaster like that. They're still playing the politics. But Grenadians are taking note. Grenadians are taking note. You may underestimate the intelligence of our people. And they're fooling themselves to believe everybody who views their program supports them or like what they're doing or saying. They're fooling themselves. Look, I go on all of those programs and I listen to all those programs. But when I click, what would happen? I will become a viewer of their program, just like so many other people who are curious. They want to know what they're discussing, what they're talking about. So that's kind of normal. Grenadians are, hungry for information and they may click. And then, they have the clickbait strategy. Put a nice caption. When you're going through YouTube or Facebook, you see it, you click. Even if you remain there for more than 10 seconds 20 seconds, or a minute, you become a viewer. So in their mind, they believe that people like what they're seeing. So they continue with the negativity. And that is why some weeks and months ago, I told you, do not click on their programs. While you have the urge to do so, do not click. Do not become a statistic. Do not become a viewer of the program, because you would spur them on. You would make them believe that this is an encouragement, more or less, saying, well, keep doing what you're doing. So they're talking Grenada bad. They're saying all manner of nasty things about the country because they want to get at the government. So when you view, you say, yes, boy, I get 8,000 people viewing, I get 7,000 people viewing, I get 6,000 people viewing. So it means that they like what I'm saying. But not everybody who views your program like what you're saying. No, that's not the case. So Grenada will build back better. Carriacou will build back better. PT Matnik will build back better. But we need to support the rebuilding effort. We need to support the relief effort too. Because ultimately, if we don't, then it will be a slower process. It will be slower. So we have to up it as a people. We need to pull together to build this place and make it better. There are too many negative people out here. Too many negative people. And there is this proliferation of FM stations and talk show programs and so on. Just focus on destabilization. They are focused on misinformation. They're focused on scandal and concocting stories to confuse the minds of our people. NTRC has to control. Government has to mandate that they control these stations doing all these kind of stuff during a disaster moment like this. Or else it will derail the recovery process. Something is fundamentally wrong with these power-hungry people. They want power so much that they don't care about Grenada. They don't. And it's demotivating for a lot of people who are volunteering and who are sending stuff and who are, interested in the relief and rebuilding of Carriacou and Petit Matnik, St. Mark and St. Patrick. And you ask them, all those who are criticizing and condemning, what have you done for these people? What have you done? You hear them every morning. They call in to talk about the 90 rooms or apartments in Carriacou, in the Chinese low-income houses. 90. In total, it's 100, but I think 10 was designated for people with disability and other things like that. Battered women and so on. Right? But I am saying you have thousands of people who are in need of a house. Right? But if they understand disaster management, they would know that these people will get faster help by being in their own home. So yes, their roof may have been destroyed. Yes, their home may have been completely destroyed or partially destroyed. But it is better if they go back on that site and shack up something and work with something there. Because when the assistance starts in terms of rebuilding, they will be given first priority. But if you're not there, and if you are in a apartment, for example, you're already in a place, then they would not prioritize you like they would if you are there without a roof over your head or a tarpaulin covering your house. So those NNP pundits may think they're helping these people to say, well, take them and put them in the Chinese houses. 90 apartments, huh? 90. They don't understand. And who tell these people that the folks in Carriacou and Petit Martinique want to go in there? The people just want back their house. They want their roof to fix and fix better than before. They want back certain amenities and certain things in their home. But you see, many of those who are speaking, they don't understand what disaster management is all about. They don't. All they believe, open their mouth and talk. I can tell you, a person or family is better off with that house that they have partially damaged. Maybe they would put the tarpaulin and cover and so on, get some wood, get some galvanized and do certain things still, than going somewhere else. You hear me? Because in the rebuilding process, they will be prioritized. They will be given first priority. That's kind of common sense. I am saying again, there are too many opposition programs and platforms pushing so much negativity. So much, even before the hurricane, they were negative on everything and anything. Come on. It's just, it's sad. The hurricane passed even worse. They have intensified their attacks and negativity. It is sickening. It is sickening. But they're accustomed to that. And they believe by doing that, they're getting somewhere. Because, of course, you have Grenadians home and abroad. They're curious. They want to hear what that person's saying this week, or what that person's saying this morning, or what that person's saying tomorrow, on the program. They're curious. But when it comes to genuine support, and that is why when the pollster did the poll, the favorability rating of our beloved Prime Minister is high. And his team, the way they're responding to things, very high. Because the general population, they are pleased with what's happening on the ground. They are pleased with the performance of the government. So while those pundits and surrogates, they're out there pushing the NNP agenda, right? And they're just totally negative. A gentleman called on the Plead Your Cause program after Devon Romaine, the guy who is on that program up on Andre Donald's station, the Real FM, he and Carl Caton, they normally on that program. He called talking and complaining and grinding and groaning, right? And then the chatters on the street, same thing. Call, talking, and complaining and so on. Only attack. And the guy called. And he said, my God, why you all are so negative? Said he visited, he went to islands who were devastated by hurricanes before to volunteer and to help. And they were in worse off situation than Grenada or than Carriacou and Petit Martinique. And the relief and the rebuilding and everything was, in total ruin and total chaos. But we have an organized system here. Things are happening for our people. But still these folks will go on programs and just negative every single day. Why they're so negative? God alone knows. They're just too negative. And if you ask them, what have you done to help the people of Carriacou and Petit Martinique? Nothing. They have not done anything. All they can do is to condemn. All they can do is to criticize. They're not doers. They're not builders. They're not going to make this thing better for these people. So the government is trying, different agencies and volunteers and so, they're trying. But for the NNP, every single thing is some kind of melee, some kind of controversy. When the Samaritan Post came, is what they say, same kind of melee. They then bring in Devon Romain in the conversation, and it's sickening because Devon Rashi, he works with the Samaritan Post or whatever. So because you walk there, it means that you're the person who get them here or bring them to Grenada. It's just utter nonsense. It's just rubbish. It's sickening. So you work with Red Cross. So you got Red Cross to come here. Or you work with Samaritan Post. There are other people who work with Samaritan Post. Come on. It's just, and then they make it into a political stupidness. Samaritan Post must deal with the government. They must deal with the government to come here and offer aid or assistance. They must. No individual could get them to come here. This thing is barbaric. It's just stupid. No individual person could get them to say, they must work with government. They must. That's what it is. But oh gum, they all about taking credit. And because Devon Rashi ran for the NNP and he was badly beaten by the late Dennis Lett, to them they believe, well, the disaster that occurred, that would cause him to become more relevant, and that would cause him maybe to bounce back and to want to run again. That is what they're thinking. Right? So it's a good opportunity for him to make people believe that, he got Samaritan Post here, and they come to assist the people of Carrick and Petit Martinique and St. Patrick and St. Mark, and, this former politician who turns relief aid worker or whatever, and, they say he's a bishop or a pastor, whatever. I am saying that is what they're thinking. So they go on air on their programs and they start praising him and he's Devon Rocher, and no individual cannot bring Samaritan Post here. None of them. No individual could get Samaritan Post to come here. It has to be a government to Samaritan Post conversation and agreement. The government must give them the go-ahead to come here, to land, to set up shop in Carriacou, because they can't start administering any medical care without the authority giving them permission to do so. Because there is rules and regulations here. There's this council, this board. That is why you saw the chief medical officer at the airport and that kind of stuff. You think as somebody who says that they're a doctor or a nurse or whatever could just come here and start practicing like that? No, they have to go through the right channels and so on. But in a disaster, the government could fast forward all these things for these people. You think they could just come and set up a pharmacy here, a field hospital here, just like that? And then you have those NNP pundits and surrogates saying, well, it's Devon Rocher that bring these people here or get them here. It's just stupid. It's dotish. It's barbaric. But that's the first thing they start politicizing. The whole Samaritan Post coming here. And the reason why they did that is because Devon Rocher once ran for the NNP and he was badly beaten by the late Dennis Lett. Dennis Lett was a senior guy, right? Well in age. And he beat that little guy so badly. Right? So because of that, they know the NNP, surrogates and pundits, they think by injecting the politics and making people believe that it's Devon Rocher that brought, and I saw people like Brenda Batiste and all these people putting up posts, about giving who their flowers before, and that it is just stupid. They can't think. They're just dumb. Do you believe that the Samaritan Post going to come into Grenada to assist Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique and not deal initially with the government, get the go-ahead from the government of Grenada? Do you believe that? Do you really believe that? To have doctors come here and function, right? To have nurses come here and function. They have to, you cannot just be a doctor and just come here and open a doctor's office like that, You cannot. Or set up a pharmacy just like that. But these people believe that they could fool people. Ask Nolan Cox. I think he has a pharmacy or involved in this pharmaceutical thing, business. Ask him. You think you could just go and open a pharmacy like that? You have to be licensed. You have to go through the right procedures and so on. You cannot just go and, you have to have qualified pharmacists, right? Making sure that they're qualified and that they meet the standard. The doctors too. You cannot just have doctors go. No. A plane landing here, or they could just land so. It's weird. It's just weird, people. That the NNP pundits and surrogates believe what they're saying makes sense. So they out there, the first thing they start to politicize is that. Well, that's the second. The first was the Chinese low-income houses. When Keith Mitchell opened his mouth and said, during the hurricane, there were people who were running towards the Chinese housing scheme, low-income houses in Busheshu and in Dumfries, Carriacou. Right? It's amazing. He used words to that effect, and they were turned back. Although there were hurricane shelters open, right? And weeks before they were announced, the designated hurricane shelters. But still, for all, they started to politicize it. And then in Carriacou, the housing scheme there was also partially damaged. But they're saying, well, they should give the people the houses to go and stay in. Right? Okay. 90 rooms or 90 apartments. You have thousands of people who need rooms and apartments. How do you handle that? How do you put everybody who lost their house in 90 apartments? I mean, it's just not even logical. It's not even logical. Some of the things that these people are saying, all you need to do is to just listen to them. The government moved the seniors, the elderly folks to Grenada, relocated them. The NNP has a problem with that. Those pundits and surrogates, they have a problem with that. Why they didn't leave the people there, and why they didn't fix the home, and why they didn't do this, and what? It's amazing. The police station lost its roof. Why they don't focus on people, house, and so on, and leave the police station roof? Like, that's what they're going on, Those NNP pundits and surrogates and supporters. All of a sudden, they become experts in disaster management. All of a sudden, they know how to do every single thing. It's amazing. The free barrel was not even announced as yet. They start to criticize it and condemn it. And look how the minister say, and look how the prime minister say, and look how them say, and they line, and they this. That's how they're going, The thing they haven't announced yet. Yesterday, I was listening to one of them on their program, NNP. Well, paid, working for the NNP. A paid worker of the NNP forces. Right? So it may not be directly the NNP as a party, but the NNP forces paying that individual. The actual work to build back roofs and so on, they already start attacking that, To say, well, when the building of the roofs and the house start, the people in Carriacou who are contractors and who are builders, they won't get, and they're going to get their big shot multi-millionaire contractors to go up there and build. And the thing don't even start yet, The thing don't even start yet. They already start attacking it and saying all kind of nasty things. It's amazing. Amazing, people. When you listen to these These folks on their programs and so on, pushing certain agenda, and you say, but wait, what is this? What is this? They then start rebuilding all the roofs and so on, tarpaulin they're distributing, so that they could temporarily cover the thing. You hear me? They already start attacking it to say, well, when they really start to rebuild the roofs and houses and so on, the contractors or the builders in Carriacou, they won't get, but the people who don't here in Grenada and associated with who and who, they go get it to do it. And boy, I mean, the negativity is too much. It's taking a toll on people's psyche. It is sickening. When Ivan passed, people were under tarpaulin for months under tarpaulin. But they're giving the people in Carriacou and Petit Martinique the idea that the NDC should build back your house in 5 days or 10 days after the passage of the hurricane. And that you should have electricity and water immediately after the passage of the hurricane. It just sickening. It is sickening. I have never seen this. I have never seen this. But you see, there is too much NNP programs on radio in this country. And I think NTRC and the Ministry of Finance need to find out if these radio stations paying the license, if they pay their taxes, and if things are going the way it's supposed to go according to the law. NTRC needs to visit those sheds and make sure that the frequency and the power at which they push in certain things from the booth is regulated, and that it's 500 watts and not beyond that. You have to do certain things to control what is taking place here. It's just, getting out of hand. Getting out of hand. You listen to them, pure lies, pure misinformation that they're pushing on these different programs, all with the hope of confusing the minds of Grenadians and creating controversy, because that's what they love. That is what they like, controversy. It is sad. And you ask them, what have you done to help these people? Nothing. They've done nothing to help these people. A gentleman who accustomed with disaster relief and disaster management and rebuilding and so on, he came to Grenada and he listened to some of those programs and he was appalled. He was shocked with the way these people are conducting themselves, the opposition forces in the country. So while government is trying to get help and assistance for our people, you have those in the opposition trying to derail that, trying to disrupt that, trying to prevent that from happening. They're demotivating even volunteers. People want to volunteer and help. They're demotivating them with all these lies and, concocting all kind of stories that are totally false. It is a wake-up call for us, man. Just watch what's going down. It's sickening. CRIF, for example, the NNP in 2007 signed on to CRIF, this insurance, mechanism. So this policy, they took out an insurance policy for Grenada. But the policy has to be paid every year. You have a car insurance, every year you have to pay. And there's some insurance every month. You hear me? So every year you have to renew it. You have to pay. That is what it is. So yes, the NNP signed on to it, taking out that policy, right? But the year after that, in 2008, NDC came into power. And NDC remained in power for 5 years. And they paid the premium or paid the money required to have the policy renewed every year. But Uncle Tilly not out there beating his chest trying to take credit for anything. No, he's not trying to do that. But Keith Mitchell is out there trying to take credit for CRIF and the payout. You could imagine that? So, okay, 16 islands sign on to CRIF because the World Bank mandated that they do so. Grenada is a part of it. All right? So you sign on to it. A year after you're out of power, the NDC continued paying. Then you came back into power from 2013 to 2022. You came back into power and you continue paying. When NDC of Deacon Mitchell came into power, they continue paying. And hear this, they went even further to add Grenlec and Nawasa to CRIF, to add them in so that they will be covered too. But the most honorable Deacon Mitchell is not out there taking credit and beating his chest and saying, well, it's me who put Grenlec in CRIF, and as a result, they were covered. And it's me who put Nawasa in CRIF, and they're covered, so they get in the payout. It's really petty on the part of Keith Mitchell, you know. The guy's out on his Facebook page and all about talking about visionary leadership, and it was him. He's the one who signed Grenada onto the... But you dig deeper. The World Bank mandated that all these islands who are exposed to all these natural hazards and so on, that they sign up with this insurance, sign up to this insurance policy. But every year it has to be paid. Every year it has to be renewed. It's not a thing that you sign up and that's it. And when a disaster strikes, you get payout. That's the impression, you know. The impression Keith Mitchell is given is that it's a one-off. So you just pay and you sign up and that's it. And you're waiting for a disaster to strike. Right? It's just sad. You hear me? Sad. And, you know, folks online, I noticed that. So, for example, my good friend Rennie, all right? Rona Rennie. So you would put a post on the Facebook chat, right? The comment section. Lies, lies, and more lies. If a person comes, you hear me? A day or two or a week or 3 weeks after and come under the program that I'm doing, and they go and they read this, they would believe that you're telling me that I am doing this. You hear me? So sometimes you have to know how you put in comments. So you put a comment, you have to specify to say, well, Keith Mitchell, lie, 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 or the NNP, lie, lie, you know. So sometimes you just put a comment there and you give people the impression, because you see, over time, the program is uploaded. So let me teach you a little thing. The folks who commented, the program is uploaded. So you put a comment there and someone doesn't know, or they don't know that you're referring to Keith Mitchell and the NNP and all of them. I'm the one speaking here. So a person could easily read it as though I am, although I'm telling the truth, right? And explaining to you in clear details. They may think you're referring to what I am saying. So when you post stuff, you have to be specific. So like Danny Pascal, for example, he said desperation. You put desperation there, for example. If a person 2 months from today go back and listen to the program, they would believe you're referring to me. So sometimes you have to say desperation on the part of the NNP. So you have to be very specific when you post stuff up, because down the road, people would interpret it or read it as though the person who is speaking, you're referring to them. When indeed I'm talking about the NNP and Keith Mitchell and all of them. So that is something that you need to kind of train yourself. When you put comments in the comment section, you have to be very specific and point out who you are referring to and who. That's very important. And I thought I should have said so long to teach you how to go about doing these things. Okay, you know, sometimes we are excited, we put stuff up there, not understanding that these programs are uploaded and they remain online for a long time. So down the road, a person comes and they click and they listen to the program, they would believe that you're referring to me, when indeed you're referring to NNP and Keith Mitchell and them. So I may know, but the person who is reading and so on, they don't know. So you have to be more detailed and more specific. So if you say that Keith Mitchell line or the NNP line or whatever, you got to put these things in there. Don't just put lies. No, because they're going to interpret it differently. Sometimes, these things are basic things that you need to kind of learn when you go online and you're commenting. If it's the actual person, so if Keith Mitchell was here speaking, you can actually see that because it refers to him, the individual. But I'm the one speaking here. Right? So you get, but even if you don't have lawyer money, as this person Michelle is saying, you don't need lawyer money. Well, then don't comment. Then don't say anything. Don't put anything there if you cannot properly explain yourself. Don't do it. Just listen. You understand the point? So you have to be able to, you have to know if you go on, right? If you go on the program, you need to be able to put certain things that are specific. So people can go say, well, that is the person they're referring to. Don't leave it out in the air and then, right. Anyways, let me get back to the message. That's just a little, tip I gave you there as you go online and you do certain things. All right? It's all good. You comment, but you have to be very careful because down the road, because these programs are uploaded, they're uploaded, they go online and they remain there for years. So months down the line, somebody goes on the program, the platform, and they check it out and they read in the comments. Then they believe you're referring to me. All right? So you have to know how, because you don't make it personal. When you speak, you have to be specific. You're speaking about somebody. All right? Nice. Anyways, I want to say that we have to understand what is at stake during this particular time. From day one, the NNP make it clear what their intentions were. From day one. You hear me? From the time Keith Mitchell spoke to this point, we know that they're not going to team up with the government. They're not going to work with the government to do anything. You hear me? They would be obstructionists. They would be disruptors. They would seek to cause all kind of stupidness in the society. From day one. So to try to take credit for CRIF and credit for this insurance and that insurance, it's just rubbish. But there are some of them out there who still falling for the thing, They've fallen for it. They believe in it. A lot of them out there said, well, the man that signed the thing, okay. But the most honorable Deacon Mitchell, he's not taking any credit for anything here. He's just trying to get the people back up and running. All right?
To see if its up-to-date status with the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility will result in some form of payment following the passage of a freak storm last weekend that resulted in property damage. Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, addressing the media on Wednesday, said Grenada is among regional countries that have renewed their parametric insurance coverage for tropical cyclones, excess rainfall and earthquakes, and the fisheries sector for the policy year 2022 to 2023, which began on June 1st, 2022.
In fact, just before coming to this press briefing, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance and I was discussing this very issue, and he raised the point that Grenada, unfortunately, has never benefited from being paid out under the catastrophic risk insurance. And I indicated to him, well, now that we've had the bad weather, we have to look at whether or not we qualify or not. But we are part of the process, and we've been part of that scheme for quite a while.
Prime Minister Mitchell said they are awaiting the arrival of the CCRIF Chief Executive Officer, Isaac Anthony, in the coming weeks for further discussions on the catastrophe risk insurance. However, not only will Grenada seek to collect fruits from its investment, but it's looking to add the country's lone electricity company for coverage under the insurance facility.
Specifically, we are looking to explore Grenlec taking up insurance in relation to that. The public may or may not be aware that currently Grenlec is self-insured because private insurers traditionally have not been prepared to cover the transmission and distribution aspect of Grenlec's operations, which are the poles and lines, which are obviously absolutely essential to ensuring that electricity is delivered to consumers.
Prime Minister Mitchell spoke about the importance of having insurance coverage as seen by Grenlec following the passage of Hurricane Ivan in 2004.
Since 1994, Grenlec has had to put aside approximately $2 million each year to fund what is called the Hurricane Fund. And that is the fund that Grenlec used after Hurricane Ivan in 2004 to be able to rebuild the transmission and distribution system. Grenlec has not been part of the catastrophic risk insurance. Now that that insurance is available and specifically is available to cover transmission and distribution lines, we obviously want to explore that possibility. Our colleague company in St. Lucia is part of that, and so that is something we are looking to explore as well.
According to the CCRIF's website, member governments purchased $1.2 billion in coverage for catastrophe risk insurance for 2022 to 2023.
Right, and you know that's a number of Caribbean islands. They have insured, the islands and companies and so on. So I am saying to you, the most honorable Deacon Mitchell is not beating his chest to say, well, he was responsible for having Grenlec insured under CRIF. No, he's not doing that. Because it's really the responsibility of any government to do those things. And it takes a visionary leader to say, well, this is what I met. Grenada was a part of CRIF, all right? And they were covering this area, that area, that area. But I want now to add Grenlec and Nawasa to CRIF. And the NDC administration did that. And you saw the payout. Grenlec got 9.3 million US to help with all the downpour lines, the poles, and you could just go on and on and on to get back up and running. And Nawasa got 2.3 million US to help with the lines and other things like that to get things back up and running. So sometimes you hear certain things or you see certain things. For example, Keith Mitchell posting all kind of stuff on his page, Facebook page, and saying all manner of things. But this is the only program where someone explained this thing for you. Because a lot of people, I'm certain, a lot of people didn't know that it was the most honorable Deacon Mitchell and his administration who added or who put Grenlec, who make sure that Grenlec was insured under CRIF and that Nawasa was insured under CRIF. I am certain many of you didn't know that. Yeah, because all you hear is the opposition forces saying, well, it was Keith Mitchell and the NNP who signed Grenada onto CRIF. And look, we get 118 million EC payout. And I'm certain, excuse me, you didn't understand that it's an insurance. And an insurance policy needs to be paid every year. This particular insurance policy, every year it needs to be paid. You understand me? Every year. So it's something that needs to be explained to people. Because some people don't understand it. Every year you have to renew it. Every year it has to be renewed. You have to pay for it. And then it will be renewed. There are a lot of people who never knew that. So, but the NNP is out there giving the impression that, this thing is a one-off. You pay, you enter Grenada into it, and that's it. No. Nope.
has renewed its insurance policies with the Caribbean Catastrophic Risk Insurance Facility Segregated Portfolio Company CCRIF SPC ahead of the 2023 hurricane season. CCRIF SPC, which provides a parametric insurance coverage against natural hazards such as hurricanes and earthquakes, has been operating since 2007, with Grenada being a founding member. Grenada currently holds 4 policies: tropical cyclone, excess rainfall, earthquake, and Caribbean Ocean and Aquaculture Sustainability Facility, or COAST. The tropical cyclone, excess rainfall, and earthquake policies will ensure a financial payout to government to aid in the recovery process should Grenada experience an event severe enough to trigger the policy, according to CCRIF SPC's models. In the case of the coast policy, coverage is provided to fisherfolk against losses due to bad weather and direct damage to fishing vessels, equipment, and infrastructure caused by tropical cyclones, wind, and storm surge. The coast provides livelihoods protection, payments directly to fisherfolk if the policy is triggered. The policies expired on May 31st, and the government elected to renew coverage effective June 1st, 2023 for 1 year, with gross premiums amounting to US 1.5 million. Through support from the European Union, the World Bank, and CCRIF SPC, Grenada was able to secure discounts of its tropical cyclone and excess rainfall policies, resulting in total net premiums of US 1.2 million. With this policy renewal, Grenada can receive a maximum payout of US 42.3 million in the event of a tropical cyclone severe enough to trigger the policy. Maximum payouts for excess rainfall and earthquake events are US 4.4 million and
Right.
US 4.1 million.
So if the NDC didn't renew the policy, right, for 2023 and 2024 and 2025, if they don't renew it, we will not get any payout or any money. No. So they have to renew it. The government of the day must do so. So Keith Mitchell trying to take credit. It's really petty and sad because he was not in power from 2007 to 2024. We saw 2 NDCs plus Keith Mitchell. Within that space, you had 2 NDC administrations, Tillman Thomas, and now you have Deacon Mitchell. Check it out. Check it out. So to come and try to take credit for what really? Huh? Boy. So they have politicized nearly every single thing. As I told you, the actual rebuilding hasn't even taken place yet. They already start politicizing it and concocting stories to say all manner of nasty things. I'm telling you, the thing don't start yet. But for me, I listen to all those programs. And when they speak, they are speaking on from one hymn sheet. All of them, all the opposition programs. One hymn sheet. But we have our job cut out for us to help our people to know the truth. Because a lot of people listen to those programs and they get confused. And they believe they start thinking all kind of things, which is sad. But in the day and age of all kind of information out there, you know how it goes. All right? So we have our job cut out for us. I want to say to you, let's remain focused. Let's remain positive. let's understand that the rebuilding will take some time. It will take some time. It's not going to happen 1 month after the passage of the hurricane, or 2 months or 3 months. It will take some time. I'm happy that my good pal, Kim the King, he's back on with, the savage stuff that he had. In other words, he was able to put some little thing together with the savage equipment and so on that was damaged and so on. He was able to put a little thing together to come back on air. But we ordered the equipment. Remember, I asked of you to give financially to get in brand new equipments for Grandi Tang and for Carriacou. So we were able to order for the brand new equipments. They have not yet arrived. Once they do, then we will be able to set up in Grandi Tang and set up in Carriacou. All right? So just saying to you, what Kim the King is using is not the brand new equipment. He was able to pull some little thing together and set up something, which is great. It's wonderful. But again, just saying, it is not the equipment that we ordered. The brand new equipments, they will come, and when we set it up, you will feel the difference. You will know the difference. All right? So I thought I should see that. Because, there are some people who believe that we already set up shop. No, we have not. All right? Saying also, my good friend Pumpkin from Mount Airy, they're having a grand opening of Kayak Sip and Chat restaurant and bar. And he says, come celebrate with us on our grand opening. That's today, Lagoon Road from 5 p.m. Well, when they say Lagoon Road, it's really close to MTV. I think Mama's used to be there, that building, that yellow building there. I think Mama's used to be there. All right? So if you, want to go there a little later, you can call 417-4037. 417-4037. Just around that area there. All right? So again, my good partner Pumpkin there from Mount Airy, he sent me this. So if you want to be a part of that, you can hit them up on 417-7037. I want to wish you all the best. Have a wonderful day. I will be back with you tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow. Sunday. Sunday, God's willing.